Back in August, the struggling Six Flags Entertainment Corporation announced that they will be parting ways with their current CEO, Richard Zimmerman, for a replacement that would be named in the future. Well, McFly, the future is now Palace Entertainment CEO, and part-time Mr. Six cosplayer John Riley was announced as the successor that will be taking over at the beginning of December for Richard Zimmerman. In this video, we're going to go over a little bit of his history and the things that we think that he can bring to the table, and some of the things that we hope that he maybe does a little bit differently than what Richard Zimmerman was doing. So John Riley's tenure in the amusement park industry started, I think, way back in like 1985 with the SeaWorld parks, where he's held numerous positions, including things like park presidents of places like Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and even served as the CEO of SeaWorld Parks, or United Parks, whatever it was called at that time, between 2018 and 2019. And that was before he moved on to Palace Entertainment and was the CEO up until right now. I think he's currently like moving on from that position at this moment. So he definitely has a lot of experience to bring to the table. So that's definitely a good thing. I know that the SeaWorld was an interim thing. He was only CEO for 1 year, but that 1 year they did have one of their best years. I think it was 2019 or 2018, whenever they had, I think, for their parks, record-breaking attendance and revenue and stuff. Now, it's hard to say that a guy that was CEO for 1 year barely had that big of an impact.
Right, yeah, but still.
It still happened under his watch, so you got to give him at least some of the credit for that. So after they named their permanent CEO, he moved on to Palace Entertainment and oversaw the entire chain, which there's an overseas parent company that has parks over in Europe and that. And then they also have U.S. parks like Lake Compounce in Connecticut and Kennywood. Those are a couple of their like main ones. But just recently in June, Palace Entertainment announced that they would be selling off all their U.S. holdings, and they sold them all to Herschend, the owner of Dollywood and Silver Dollar City. Here is a CEO that just went over a huge sale of tons of parks. I think altogether it was like something like 20 parks or something, even like the small like water parks and stuff like that. And he's moving into a company that, lo and behold, needs to get rid of some parks.
Yeah.
So coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. I think maybe one of the appeals is maybe Six Flags board, like the way that he handled that transaction,
right,
and found a buyer for all the parks and that.
Yeah, so I don't think people are going to be super excited that Six Flags is getting a CEO that is good at selling parks, but you know, that it is what it is.
So I mean, we're not sure exactly because we're not in the inner workings of what SeaWorld did. Maybe he isn't only good at selling parks, because in 2020, the announcements for 2020, now COVID pushed these back a little bit, but there were supposed to be 3 major roller coasters in the SeaWorld chain at that time: Iron Gwazi, Pantheon, and Texas Stingray. So those 3 were all supposed to be 2020, and that probably, like, as far as like the planning and designing all that, was probably under his watch when they were like being first thought of.
Right.
So he did more than likely, like we said, we're not sure what kind of input he had in that, but a lot of that was happening under his watch. That's good news for coaster enthusiasts like us and probably you guys who want lots of new roller coasters in these parks. He did probably oversee 3 amazing roller coasters.
Yeah.
And probably 3 of the better ones in the entire SeaWorld chain.
Yeah.
Now, when he takes over, he's going to be taking over a company that already announced that they're looking to get rid of underperforming parks. So we can fully expect something like that to still happen. But the ride removals, I think one of the biggest problems people had with Richard Zimmerman, I don't even know if it was the ride removals themselves, but the way he went about it.
Yeah, everything was very secretive, and like, you know, before, years ago, if a big ride would be removed, they'd have an announcement for it and some sort of event, or, you know, they didn't have any of that with
Not
Richard
even for
Zimmerman.
King the Cow. King the Cow, like one of the biggest the biggest roller coaster in the
the
world.
tallest roller coaster in the world. It got sent away with pretty much no announcement and no ceremony, no anything. And it wasn't just King the Cow. Plenty of other rides had the same thing happen to them. So people were definitely not happy with that.
So I guess one thing that if John Riley does change, one major quick thing that's probably easy to change within the entire chain is if they are going to be closing down any more rides, which I rest assured there will be some more rides closing down, then they'll have some sort of actual send-off or something like that. And since he did find a buyer for the entire lot of parks that Palace owned, maybe that is something that they were looking at. Maybe he is good at brokering some sort of deal. And if you live in an area that a park is underperforming and may not be owned by Six Flags much longer, maybe instead of just closing it down like they closed down Six Flags America, maybe they can work out a deal with another operator to start running some of these parks.
Yeah, so, and obviously people would rather have parks just keep running, at least, under a different company, than shut down completely.
Now that's unless the Six Flags America deal where the land was worth a lot more as whatever it is that they're going to be putting on it, opposed to having an amusement park on it. So I guess there are cases like that where it may just work out where a park can't be saved. But if a park can be saved, maybe this is the guy to do it and find someone to take it over so you guys don't lose your home parks. And if he did have anything to do with Iron Gwazi and Pantheon and that, maybe bringing in some top tier coasters is one of his top bucket list ideas.
Yeah.
Because that was one thing that Six Flags already laid out in their plan, is they wanted to really concentrate on some like big market, underperforming, underpenetrated parks. Hence the reason why Six Flags over Texas is getting a Giga Dive coaster, because it's in a huge metropolitan area around Dallas, Fort Worth.
Yeah, there's plenty of people around there, but the park itself was kind of underperforming. So, you got the people to go to the park, just got to get them there.
Now you got to get them to the park. And Magic Mountain, which is doing less business than Knott's Berry Farm. So lots of places like that where they want to invest heavily. So one thing that I wonder is how long ago did they actually talk to John and work out him taking over, and maybe they started implementing some of these plans with him? Like maybe they started talking to him and saying, what do you think the future is? And then like they kind of bounce some ideas around. So maybe some of these ideas are his ideas as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how all that works. And I don't know what they ended up doing. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you're going to be the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company, it's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that they've been in discussion for at least a few months, probably before they announced Richard Zimmerman was going to be stepping down.
Right.
So one thing that stands out about the roller coasters is Pantheon was made by Intamin. Intamin is known for being blacklisted by Cedar Fair for quite a few years now, and then probably blacklisted by the new Six Flags because they all merge into one company. But this guy might not have a problem with Intamin since he used them for Pantheon. So maybe Intamin
could possibly make a return to the Six Flags chain that, it's been a very long time since a previously Cedar Fair or now Six Flags Park has gotten an Intamin coaster.
Yeah, so that's something that we might look for in the future.
And hopefully just things being better run, because I think after the merger, a lot of the quality of the parks have been definitely going down.
Yes.
Obviously there's the ride closures, but, a lot of restaurants have been closing, and just like smaller things that you might not really notice other than if it's your home park.
Yeah.
So
Staffing
has been a huge thing. There's been no workers at any of the parks. So just hopefully things can the quality can go back up and things can be ran more like they were in before COVID time, because I feel like that was a good time for a lot of these parks.
That was getting back into the heyday. It wasn't the Coaster Wars anymore. It wasn't
the Coaster Wars, but it was getting back to something that was, kind of similar in a way.
Yeah, Coaster Wars, except not with hype, but just with quality.
Right.
Because you had Steel Vengeance, you had Iron Gwazi coming out, you had Pantheon, you had Velocicoaster.
Yeah, you had all these big coasters, and then, like I said, the little things, there were people to work those good roller coasters, and the restaurants were all open, so everything was looking pretty good, so hopefully they can get back to that sort of quality.
So why don't you guys leave a comment down below? Are you happy with this decision? Are you someone that had a CEO replacement in mind and you're upset that person didn't get it? But either way, whatever you have to say, leave a comment. And while you're down there, it's really easy to hit that like button and also subscribe if you have not already. And we'd like to take this second to thank all our channel members, all the people you see on the screen right here. They joined our channel membership and they get things like exclusive videos, pictures, shout outs, and obviously they help us out so much and make a lot of what we do possible. So thank you to all our channel members, and thank you to all our subscribers in general.
Absolutely.
So that is it. Quick little rundown. Brand new CEO, Six Flags. Only time will tell, so we'll have to see. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Mm-hmm. So that is it for this video, and we'll see you guys next time right here on Beach Cliff Studios.